Ben McKee, Patrick Brown, GoVols 24/7 here as we have made it to the week before the game week. Virginia is 12 days away, and just spoke to Josh Heupel. No more practice access for the media, but we do still talk to the coaches, and we spoke to Josh Heupel today, and I asked him about the overall team health coming out of training camp, and they seem to be in a pretty good spot outside of a couple of guys.
Yeah, there's obviously the long-term injuries with Tyree Weathersby, the freshman defensive lineman, and Deshaun Bishop, the freshman running back. It seems like they're getting some guys back healthy, particularly in the secondary with Wesley Walker, Tamari McDonald. Josh Heupel said those guys have been kind of more fully involved and had a bigger workload in practice over the last 3 to 4 days. Not that we've seen it because we haven't seen them since Friday. But I'd say the 3 question marks probably at this point are Cooper Mays. We'll have to see what his status is going to be for the opener. And then a couple guys that got banged up last week, and Elijah Simmons, the defensive lineman, and Kamal Haddon at cornerback as well. So we'll have to see how those guys progress. This is a big week to get guys healthy before game week starts next week.
Yes, and the good news is that you start with what should be a bad Virginia team, and you come back home and play Austin Peay before heading to the Swamp. So ideally you'd like those guys to play in a game, but that does give you a little wiggle room. Aside from injuries, he was asked again, Josh Heupel was, about Nico Aliava and his ability to play if needed right now, if something were to happen to Joe Milton, and he continues to be very, very confident in the freshman.
Yeah, and that's something that I think a lot of people in the program feel. You don't really know until he gets out there, and we don't know if that's going to happen. But I think Nico has been preparing really all offseason to be ready at a moment's notice. He saw what Joe Milton did for Hendon Hooker last season, and so that's a great example to follow, and he can lean on Joe because Joe can tell him what he did to be ready to play when he got his opportunity. So they like how Nico has come from the spring to the summer into camp. It'll be different if he gets in because he won't have the red jersey on. It's always different when guys can hit you. They haven't been able to hit him for a while. So, yeah, I mean, they seem pleased with him, and they seem pleased with the camp Milton said too.
Yes, Nico has had a great offseason, quite frankly, and part of the reason he's been able to have a great offseason and start off strong is because this Tennessee wide receiver room is very, very talented, and they've had a very productive offseason.
Yeah, and Josh Heupel was complimentary of that group too. You know, the 3 guys that have been in this offense, Brew McCoy, Squirrel White, Ramel Keaton, you know what you're going to get in those guys. He likes how Dante Thornton has come along during camp, coming in from Oregon. He's been really intentional in how he's worked and has gotten more comfortable in the offense. And then he's raved again about Chaz Nimrod and Caleb Webb. We'll see how much those guys get on the field. They might have to be just kind of ready on standby in case anything happens to the starters. But he really likes how those guys come along. Said they're different players now from where they were in the spring. And for 2 guys that have not caught a pass in a college game, that's good progress. And I think those guys can look at Ramel Keaton and say, you know, our moment might come at any time, so we got to be ready. Yeah,
it's kind of an awkward week here. Training camp has come to an end. It's the week before game week, but it's still an important week. If this team is going to go out and have the success that they want to have, they need to have the foot on the gas. You kind of have that awkward school starting back in the middle of the week. I believe they have a day or 2 off in the middle as well. It's an awkward week, but you got to still have your foot on the gas.
Yeah, and that was the sense you got from Josh Heupel, is that we still have a long way to go and we don't have a whole lot of time to get there. So coaches are never going to be content this time of year. There's always way too many things to correct and way many things to try to get fixed. They said they need to work on situational football a little bit more. They'll have some more walkthrough type stuff this week, so it won't be as full speed, but it's an important week, and Heupel was definitely, as you said, pushing the gas to say, hey, we need to have some urgency. We need to get better over these next 12 days so we're ready to play.
Yeah, and we won't have anything in terms of access the next 2 days. The next time a coach will speak will be Thursday and Friday. We get to talk to the coordinators, Joey Halsley and Tim Banks. We're also going to talk to Joe Milton at some point this week, so be sure to stay locked in to GoVols 24/7 for all coverage of Tennessee football. He's Patrick Brown. I'm Ben McKee.